Welcome back to another Tactical Tuesday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the love and support this far, guys. I really appreciate it. This is episode 8. A few episodes ago, we went over the tactical column in patrolling. So today, we're going to be going over the patrol wedge. Before we get into that, I would like to thank Rain City Tactical, as always, for sponsoring the channel. Again, if you guys are in the Kent area of Washington, please go check out Rain City Shooting Center. They've got an awesome gun range, a full gun store. They sell gear, armor, custom holsters, tons of cool stuff. And we've got classes starting there this month. So with that said, let's dive into the patrol wedge. Now, like I said, last week or a few weeks ago, we went over the column. And so we're going to go over the wedge now, just kind of showing you a bit of the differences in where you might use it. So the wedge, as you might imagine, is creating a wedge with your fire team. So you would have 1, 2, 3. These are perfect circles, aren't they? 4. All the same size, absolutely. So this is your patrol wedge, right? It kind of creates like this diamond shape. Now, the advantages of the wedge are it's easily controlled. It provides, obviously, 360 security. It provides the most amount of firepower in any direction, right? Unlike the column, right, where you had the front and back men were covered down over each other, and it's extremely flexible and you can kind of move it in and out as far as dispersion wise. It doesn't always have to be super tight or super loose. You can kind of like really alter, and that's what makes it flexible. The disadvantages of it are mostly that it's much slower because because you're trying to keep this pattern. It's harder to keep that pattern and that shape for the security. Moving in the wedge is a little bit slower typically. Now, it's mostly used outdoors in open terrain. So you're probably going to want to move a little bit slower anyways. Like you're not really trying to like rush through things. But especially for smaller teams, the wedge is really a really good style to use because you do have that 360 security. As you can see, if you were to take contact from, over here, let's say, right, you have three different people who can engage, and then same from taking contact from the rear, right? Now you've got 3 that can engage, and so it doesn't matter what area you're taking contact from. You're always going to have 3 people that can engage, and then 1 person bringing up the rear or holding security to the rear as you're engaging, or maybe can pick up a flank or help pick up a flank. But even if you get engaged from the front and from the side, you also have, again, multiple people that can engage. So it's a really, like I said, it's mostly for outdoors. You're not going to see this in You're not really going to see this in any sort of urban environment, just because you'd be putting 2 guys out in the middle of the street, which is not, obviously not where you want to be. You want to have as much cover as you can. So this is going to be something you use out in those open environments and stuff, out in the woods or maybe patrolling through the desert. Who knows? Somewhere like that, right? So with that said, if let's say the patrol is heading this direction, right, you would typically have your automatic or whatever gunner in the rear, right? Just so that, because that is kind of like typically your most vulnerable spot, depending on like what the mission entails, right? If you're out solo with your 4-man team, like your biggest flank is your rear usually. So a lot of times you'll have the automatic gunner, or most of your fire support will be in the back. Plus, you want them in the back because if you're patrolling a certain direction, and if you're patrolling in one particular direction, odds are that if you're going to take contact or run into contact, there's a good chance that either the 1-man or 2-man or 3-man, like maybe they're the first ones to get spotted or the first ones to take contact, especially the point man, right? The point man's, that's kind of that's why it's a shitty role sometimes, right? Like you're the first one to get seen, maybe the first one to get shot at, and so forth and so on. So you don't want the first person getting shot at being the primary source of your firepower for laying down support by fire position or cover fire or whatever you're doing, right? So with that said, you know, just kind of keep that in mind if you're working in a four-man team. If you have someone who has, you know, if they carry more ammo on them so they can lay down more rounds for cover fire, or if you actually have like a belt fed that you're working with, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's someone who's carrying, you know, some sort of launcher or some of some kind. You know, you want to try to protect that asset from going down and you having to fucking recover it or whatever, because you want to make sure that those guns like get into the fight and stay in the fight as long as possible. So yeah, it's not complicated, it's not crazy, it's very simple. It's a very simple thing to practice. You can get out there, just go take some buddies out in the woods and just put yourself in this wedge formation and see what it feels like to try to really stay in that formation. It can, I mean, as long as people have like a steady pace, it makes it easier. But you'll notice that like all of a sudden, like maybe you got too far ahead and like you're kind of like losing that formation. So again, just keep that in mind. And I know that this is there's not really much else to say about it. If you're in, like, let's say if you've got more than 4, right, then depending on how many more you have past 4, then you would decide how they would fall in line behind the wedge. Or what you can do is, as we kind of stated in the column video about the patrol column, maybe if you've got 2 more guys, maybe you set them out over here as like a flanking unit or a satellite unit, or maybe you have them pulling up the rear as just 2 extra guys staged back a bit from the wedge, or maybe you have them pushed out in front as like an additional again satellite to the opposite side and forward. It just depends on the terrain you're in and where you are, and you know what the mission statement is, and or what you're out doing, right? So with that said, yeah, that's all I got. And if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, please leave them in the comments below and let me know what you guys think, or if what you guys want to see next, and I will try to get to it as soon as I can. Also, welcome to 2023 if you guys didn't see the Moto Monday video, but I just want to say, again, thank you for all you guys' love and support. This is going to be an awesome year. Again, classes start this month, so I'm super stoked. But yeah, as always, I will catch you guys tomorrow for Weapons Wednesday. And stay safe out there, stay loose, battle on, and if you bitch in your heart, it'll show.